and I want to get there too. Like, I really want to get there too, because I do think this little voice that's always like, oh, that's not perfect, that's not perfect, that's not perfect, is related to this wounding around the material realm of like, the material realm isn't ever perfect. Like, it isn't ever going to show up in the neat and tidy, beautiful way that the frequency comes, or the vision comes. Like, it's always going to come with.
And that's why when you enter into the material world, you're going to feel more like you're going in as a fire than a rested, this is the perfection. Like like if I consider for a second what it's like when I'm working on the more shallow levels, in no way sometimes does that accord with the depth that I know this place could be or what could be happening. But I'm there as it's like going in and standing and burning within something that is more shallow. And that seems to be the best thing that I can do in that moment. And I can feel an alignment from that part of my being, even if, which actually in the bigger picture does line up with the depth. I can see that, even though I'm having to go into this narrowness and kind of be within that while using that language and using this thing. But it is definitely to do with the masculine, the disidentification of whatever rigidity is happening with regard to this or that, and just seeing whether it lines up with the overall vision and being the fire within that narrowness. And then you'll see that it doesn't really matter where you are. What will happen is you can actually start to open it through being that flame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what I've started to have these moments where I'm like, it's really like, it's like what is being asked of me at this moment. It's like an ultimate faith surrender. It's to stop clinging to the beingness so much. This like, I don't be too hard on myself, but it's like the clinging to the beingness feels safe, and to get out of the beingness in action, and to just trust that when you do that, somehow your beingness is coming with you. It's like, you don't have to constantly be feeling the depths and feeling the deep mystical states in your active state in order for the beingness of you to be with you.
Yes.
And that's like the leap of faith that's being asked of me right now, is
and
like,
that is your being. And that's the thing we have to see, is that when you move with that passion and that fire, which is brought on when you think about your children and you think about whatever you need to do, that is your being. That's your masculine part of your being moving. Mm-hmm. But actually what you can see when you really sense into that is that masculine will have a vision that to some degree links in with what the rest into being has too. There is a correlation between the two eventually. You'll see it. What I see with the masculine when it moves through me is that there's a very clear sense of what. It's the grandness or the bigger version of what he's trying to burst forth. But she has more of a kind of like, she can really sense the intricacies and the beauty and what's actually coming through the depth. But he's just like, it's like that. Mm-hmm. And they do line up though. I really feel them. They line up.
That's helpful. It's like, but I have to, like, you have to stand in the mystery. Like, I have to stand in the mystery. I can't, it's like I just think there's almost like anti-masculine bias or something, like a bias against this active component of feeling like, oh, it's always kind of a little off, or it's a little compromised, or it's a little less than the depths of the feminine, instead of seeing it really as this essential other half. It's like I had the being in motion, trusting that there's a correlation, even if it's not like readily apparent in every moment.
You'll discover it. You will discover the correlation. You definitely will. You just need to see, you need to see and feel into him and move as him, just in the same way that you would see and feel into her and move as her. And you'll start to see that they feel very different, but they also go in the same direction. They really do. He's trying, but what I feel like he's trying to do is really incarnate into the world. He's trying to actually bring it all the way in to the existing structures. Really is. And there's a kind of, there's a return to humanity that he is seeking to bring about. He wants to go into those structures. And that's he is becoming, she is being in that situation.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
He
So
will
say more about that, or in your experience of that. It's like she's really, like she can see it, but she can sometimes be somewhat unconcerned about whether or not it's penetrating anything.
Yeah, well, and from that deep beingness, everything is done. Actually, sometimes when you rest,
right,
it's all done.
Yeah,
And that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's my problem. When I'm in my beingness, I'm like, I'm so abundant. Like,
absolutely,
I
you
feel
are
already fully realized. The abundance is all here,
but
and
humanity,
then it's like
humanity hasn't realized that. And so what has to happen is he moves out. It's a sacrifice. They actually refer to this as they call it as the fall of the angels. It's like the descent of the angel, which is like a turning your back on what you know is the truth, which is that it is abundant. It's fucking beautiful. I mean, if you feel the earth, you feel your connection to it. It's fucking beautiful. But you turn around from that and you see the world is thirsty for this. And that's not a logical thing. I'm not saying that as a concept. The heart of the masculine knows that to be the truth. It knows that love has to be poured back in, which means that there will be a movement back into the world, even if what is being brought into the world doesn't yet feel fully aligned with what she has realized, because it's going to take time. It's going to take time because you're moving into time and space. Mm-hmm. Right? So you're going to have to, beingness is beyond time and space. Fundamentally, everything is there. Okay, I move into my masculine. I bring that knowing that I have of what she's seen into the world beyond time and space. It's not, yes. And then I bring it into time and space. Oh, there's all of this rigidity. There's all of these power structures. There's all of this stuff, but I have to go in as the fire and stand and burn. That's what has to happen. That's what he does. And then he comes back and he lets go and he's her again. And then it's all good, but then back in. So that's how it is.